It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudist, and Naturist.
Welcome to Naked, Nudist, and Naturist, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the Naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, welcome on in to Naked, Nudists, and Naturist, episode 15 today. Come on in. The water is fine, as we always say, because it's always fine when you're living the clothes-free life for all of the right reasons. If you are a longtime naturist or nudist or naked person, whatever you call yourself, then you already know the feeling. Not only do the clothes come off, but all the barriers come away as well. Emotionally, physically, spiritually, you name it, we are now barrier-free and we can live the life that we were intended to live. We are really interested to know what your naturist, nudist, naked life looks like. So on Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify, we have a question there for you. Basically, just tell us about your naked, nudist, naturist life. Do you live clothes-free every day? Are you always clothes-free in the home? Can you be clothes-free outside? Do you go to naturist nudist parks? Do you go to naturist nudist beaches? Do you go for naked hikes? A lot of people do that as well. Do you do a lot of naked boating? Where I live, a lot of people do naked boating. Not too close to the shore. They wait till they get a mile out or so, and then the clothes come off, and they are clothes-free on the waterways. So what do you do? We are always interested in knowing that. We'd like to promote that. We will not read your name on the air if you don't want us to. And that's one of the guarantees that we make here. If we're going to read something of yours, or if we want to read something of yours, we will notify you and ask permission. And if you give permission, we'll go ahead and read it. So feel free to write in. Nothing will be read on the air unless we have your permission to do so. I believe everybody knows our naturist, nudist, naked story here. We are nude in the studio every single day. We're an actual radio station. We publish and produce a lot of shows here, some in-house and some from other people that we take care of and put on the air here. And we are also involved in podcast land and a bunch of other activities regarding print. Anything with media, we're all over the place here, and we work in the nude here. And everybody knows the story. I told it on several episodes ago. It did not start out that way. It wasn't a naked studio, who wants to work here. It was a regular, functioning, societal studio, and then one thing led to another, and organically, we became nude in the studio. I am told, although I've never actually checked up on this, but each employee here lives a clothes-free life all of the time, not just at work, but when they're at home and they seek opportunities to go to beaches and to resorts and to sit out in their backyards or on their porches in the back. And so that's what we do, clothes-free living for all of the right reasons, and interested in what you do, what you can do. Some people are limited by where they live or the people to whom next door they live. We understand all of that. We're just interested. What's the clothes-free life look like for you? So if you don't mind taking a moment on Spotify, we'd appreciate that. Well, we give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. It drops on Spotify, and then eventually it goes to a lot of places. We are not in control of the eventually part. It might happen within 1 minute. It might be 3 or 4 hours. We just don't have control over that. But we are also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Amazon/Audible. We are on iHeartRadio, Podbean, Deezer, you name it. We are out there everywhere in podcast land. Just type in Naked, Nudists, and Naturists in a podcast platform of your choice, and this show will come up. But it's guaranteed to be on Spotify, 6 a.m. Eastern Time, every single Saturday morning. How about that? And as we have mentioned before, every show is exactly 1 hour. Technically, it's 59 minutes and 59 seconds. There's a reason for that. No need to get into it here in radio land, but let's just call it an hour. Every show's an hour, which makes it easy for you as the listener to plan out your day. Okay, I only have 15 minutes right now. I'm going to put on the first 15 minutes of Naked Nudists and Naturists. When I get to work, I'll have a half an hour. I'll listen to 30 minutes, and on the way home, 15 minutes, I'll have knocked off the entire episode in one day just by planning out my day. But every show is an hour, so it makes it easier for you to plan. We are constantly getting messages from people who listen to the show, and they tell us where they listen to the show. A lot of people listen to it inside of their homes as they're doing something else, painting, making breakfast, making dinner, cleaning, vacuuming, washing floors. We're glad we keep people entertained while doing those jobs. Other people listen to it at work. Other people listen to it while they are driving. Some listen to it while they are at events, such as a soccer game. They have their headphones on in the stands while they watch their kids play soccer. Wherever you listen, we're just glad that you do. That's what's nice about podcast land. You can take us wherever you go. Well, on today's show, we will talk to Carrie Jane. She is the owner-operator of B.H.H. Naturist Resort, Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands. What a gorgeous piece of property she has. A gorgeous house, a gorgeous pool, a gorgeous deck. And I believe she has 4 rooms available for your stay. And we will talk all about that, as well as her work in naturism. By the way, she actually worked with the guy who used to be Prince Charles. He's now the king over there in the UK. That's where she's from originally. As she points out during the interview, she did not work with Prince Charles regarding naturism or nudism. Totally separate. But she's worked with a lot of people, worked in theater for a long time. And so we're excited to have her with us. Carrie Jane from B.H.H. Naturist Resort in Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands. Part 1 of my interview with her today. We will also talk briefly to Linda Weber. Everybody knows that name. True Blue Nude, I am the face of naturism. She is everywhere under the sun, literally under the sun, when it comes to naturism, nudism, spreading the word about clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. You can find her everywhere, and she has to come on the show today to talk about B.E.A.C.H.E.S, the B.E.A.C.H.E.S Foundation. She is a big part of that, and they have a special event coming, and she wants to tell us all about that. And so we will talk to her in just a couple of minutes, in fact. We will also have our regular weekly correspondent, Lisa Monroe. She'll be weighing in today. We'll talk a lot about Stéphane Deschénes, owner of Bear Oaks Family Naturist Park, also has his own podcast, the Naturist Living Show. He has been very kind to us. He ran our promo on his most recent show, and we are going to publicly thank him today when I talk to Lisa Monroe. Great work up there near Toronto, and we are proud to call him our friend here at Naked Nudists and Naturists. Now, before we get to all of that, I have a few messages I want to read to you. This is from Graham down in New Zealand. We've read his writings before. Thank you for the excellent podcast. Listening to you and Lisa discuss housing issues, despite your nice weather, I don't think I'll be moving anytime soon. Yes, we are in hurricane land, that is for sure. New Zealand enacted laws covering the Undeclaration of Human Rights in 1990, part of which states the human form has dignity and worth. This obviously applies to the whole, thus not part can logically by its existence be determined an attack on society. In addition, New Zealanders have the right to self-expression and beliefs. Our courts determine naturism to be an expression of belief. Have a good day, guys. And that's from Graham in New Zealand. And maybe we should all just pack up our bags, small bags, we don't need much, and head to New Zealand. They seem to have their acting gear when it comes to naturism down there. Prior to that message from Graham, he also sent another note. Just listen to episode 12, most excellent. Prior to the Raj in India, when the caste system was strictly adhered to, women from lower castes were required to remain topless as a measure of status in society. I don't know if this had influence on the Indian attitude to nudity. Personally, I reckon the clothing industry should be charged with crimes against humanity, given the excess resource usage and the pollution they cause. And again, those two notes are from Graham down in New Zealand. We thank him very much. And the last message I want to read to you from A.B. Friendly Bear. We've read his notes before. Bear is B-A-R-E, A.B. Friendly Bear. Hey guys, I think a question that people ask of themselves and get asked is, am I a nudist or am I a naturist? So I thought maybe we could run a third term out there. We can just use the term, I am a recovering textile. And again, that's from A.B. Friendly Bear. We thank him for his note as well. You are listening to Naked, Nudist, and Naturist, episode 15 today. Brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time on Spotify, and then branches out from there. We thank you very much for being with us today. Let's get to my brief interview and discussion with Linda Weber. I am the face of naturism. True Blue Nude, everybody knows Linda Weber, so let's find out what she has to say today regarding the B.E.A.C.H.E.S Foundation. So let's go out to California for a few moments and talk to the face of naturism, True Blue Nude, also known as Linda Weber, and find out what she has to say. Something about B.E.A.C.H.E.S today. First of all, let's welcome her to the show. Good morning, Linda. How are you today?
Hi, Frank. I'm doing well.
Life treating you okay? You're able to still get outside clothes free, I hope?
Yes, the weather's great, and so I've been really spending a lot of time out there.
Yeah, we're going to make people in northern U.S. and certainly Canada a little jealous. You know, we're in October and we're still outside clothes free, but, you know, they could move down here or out where you are, right?
That's true. They could come visit, and I'll share some of my sun with them.
That's right. All right, what do we have going on? You have something going on with beaches, right?
Yes, Frank. Today I'm here to ask for support for the B.E.A.C.H.E.S Foundation Institute Museum Project. In my recent podcast with you, it was mentioned that I'm a governor for the B.E.A.C.H.E.S Foundation, and what B.E.A.C.H.E.S stands for is Beach Education Advocates for Culture, Health, Environment, and Safety, which has spearheaded nudist advocacy and activism since about 1999. My fellow governors and I are a coalition of devoted individuals who bring a wealth of experience and leadership in nudist activism. At the heart of our movement lies a rich tapestry of history, culture, and shared experiences. Now we are reaching out to you with a landmark initiative that aims to celebrate and safeguard our nudist history and culture, the establishment of a nudist museum, library, and institute near the iconic Holliver Beach, which I know a lot of people know about. This endeavor transcends mere infrastructure. It embodies our collective journey, battles, victories, and unwavering belief in the principles of naturism. As we stand on the cusp of realizing this monumental vision, we're reaching out to the naturist community for the invaluable support that we need. Now, why this project matters is it's a guardianship of our legacy. This museum will serve as a timeless sentinel, ensuring our history, achievements, and ethos are forever immortalized for future generations to draw inspiration from. The work today will one day become a part of that history. Promotion and education. The Institute will be instrumental in educating visitors about the values and benefits of naturism, dispelling myths, and nurturing respect for our community, which I think is most needed right now. It is an essential factor to provide education for those who aren't familiar, where they don't understand the naturist philosophy. I think that's probably one of the most key things. It'll also be a hub for connection, or a space where naturists already and the public can gather to share, teach, learn, and celebrate our shared ideas, which I think bonding with the public will be just key to helping, to normalize naturism. And one of the parts that I am really excited about is any contributions to the B.E.A.C.H.E.S Foundation not only are an investment, but they are fully tax deductible because we have a 501c3 status. So this is going to be great because as you open up your pocketbooks and your checks, it will not only benefit you, it will benefit us. So it's a win-win. And I think now more than ever is a perfect moment for our community to unite and champion this great project. So we have financial or any other forms of support would be wonderful. And you can donate directly through on the Beaches website, and that's www.beachesfoundation.org/donate shop. And then I'm sure Frank will include this information. Plus, I'll give him the address. So if you would like to send in a check, that would be wonderful. So I appreciate being able to talk about this great project that we've got coming up.
Oh, you bet. Now they can. You mentioned they can donate right through the website, so credit card or PayPal or anything, credit union, different things.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and you do take the old-fashioned way of a check.
We will take the money if you want to bring it by carrier pigeon. We will gladly accept it. So
They can drop $100 bills over Hull over Beach, and somebody will be there to collect them for this, right?
I will go out there and I will collect them myself. How's that?
sounds, that sounds great. Now, the whole organization of beaches, you do more than just naturism, right? You're out there helping anybody and everybody who can protect a beach, and obviously for naturist activity, but maybe just help clean up a beach to show people we're actually real people.
Yes, yes. There's
Mm.
so much that Beaches does.
Yeah,
We monitor legislation. Of course, all over the world, everybody knows about Hallover, and I think
yeah,
that is one of the key things that we show that through the struggles and all the stuff that we wanted to do, Hallover was made a reality. And
yeah.
Shirley and Richard Mason have done wonderful work, and it is really
Mhm.
the beacon for everybody else to say, "Hey, it can be done." And
Yeah,
that's why we really wanted to expand it, because people do know about Holliver. So we'd like to build on that because it's so successful. And that's
yeah,
why we'd like to, and we want to think about now setting up something for our naturist history, because,
yeah.
today is going to be today, but tomorrow it'll be our past.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think Hull over Beach has been there forever as a naturist beach, but that's not true. It's only been, what, 30 years or so?
It seems like it is, because it is so
Yeah.
iconic, and people
Yeah.
from all over the world know about it. But it's our recent past, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so but it does show it can be done. It's difficult, and that's one of the things Beaches does is also work with people that do want to try to see if they could work with their council or the city to see if they could get a nude beach anywhere.
All right. Well, very good to have you again. Now, if again, just tell people again, it'll be in the show notes, but if they want to donate to beaches for this great cause, how can they do that again?
We have the website, and it is www.beachesfoundation.org/donate shop. And that's for, if you want to click through. Otherwise, we have an address if you would like to send a regular check. We would appreciate that.
Definitely so. Always great to talk to you. True Blue Nude, I am the face of naturism. Linda Weber, all of the above. Thank you very much, Linda. Have a great day. Let's talk again soon.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate this.
Thank you. Isn't she absolutely fantastic? Linda Weber, I am the face of naturism. True Blue Nude. She is out there every day and every night. I don't think she sleeps. She's just always out there on behalf of all of us, promoting naturism, nudism, naked, nude, being clothes free for all of the right reasons. And everything that she discussed is in the show notes about B.E.A.C.H.E.S Foundation. And we thank Linda Weber for being with us on today's show. As we often say on this show, since we are naked, nudists, and naturists, all about clothes-free living for all the right reasons, if you haven't already done so, take your clothes off and join us. There's no video here. We won't see you. So you're in the privacy of wherever you are, but keep it safe. Not while you're driving around, not while you're in the store, but if you're in a place where you can have your clothes off while you listen to the show, so much the better. We get a lot of letters on that. People sit at their pool, they sit on their deck, they sit in their living room, clothes free while listening to this show. You are listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 15 today. You already know, a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. We thank you very much for being with us. We are in this together. You need us. We need you. Let's help each other out to promote the messages of clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. And eventually we'll get there where it's accepted as normal, because it is. You know that. I know that. So let's keep working together to promote the word. As you can tell by the music underneath me, that can only mean one thing. It's time to bring in our weekly correspondent, Lisa Monroe. So let's bring in our weekly correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
Good morning, Frank. I'm doing terrific today.
Good. Good to have you with us. You're always here, and that's a good thing, isn't it?
Well, I don't seem to be going away, so I just turn up like the old proverbial bad penny, I
That's right.
guess.
You show up on every show, properly attired, smiling, and energetic. Who can ask for more?
And well, that's pretty decent that, being full of energy is a good thing.
Hmm.
And so do you. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think it comes from being satisfied with who we are and with the fact that we're not having to put on clothes this morning.
Yeah. Or yeah, or any morning, unless we have to go to the store.
Exactly.
I wanted to talk today a little bit about Stéphane Deschénes. Hope I said that. It's I'm not a French person. I took Spanish. I did not take French, but that's close. At least he knows who we're talking about. And he was nice enough last spring when we talked about getting this show together. He said, if you do get it together, let me know. Send me a promo and I'll play it on my show. And he did that not too long ago in September. And the show, when he had George on from Naturist Hub, he started his show off by playing our promo to help advertise us. And I just want to go as public as I possibly can to thank him for that. And I know you think and feel the same way.
I absolutely do. It was a wonderful gesture on his part, and just a really good support for the efforts that you started and I came in on. And I think that it's something that the community needs. We need more voices simply because there are not enough of us, and if so, the more voices, the more reach we have to different individuals. So I think it's a very good thing, and what he did has been a good thing for us as well.
Oh, very much so. I always call him, he doesn't necessarily accept this or use it himself, but I call him the godfather of naturism because, first of all, he's been around for a long time doing it at a higher level than I think anybody else. He's been involved in everything. He put his money where his mouth is, bought a park and turned it into a naturist park. He's run for office. He's been big in the Canadian Naturism Foundation, or whatever they called it. I might have the
Yeah,
title wrong, but you know what I mean.
right.
Certainly the INF, International Naturism Federation. He's the president of that now. So he's out there and he's been doing this podcast forever. I think he said since 2008, which I think was before most people even heard of podcasting. He was out there doing it on a regular basis.
He was a pioneer in this. There's no question about it. And apparently saw the importance of this kind of level of communication. So
Yeah. Yeah, he's talked to me before about gear. Sometimes he'll mention gear on one of his shows, different microphones, different cords, different setups, different software. So he's always exploring and trying to improve and trying to get it just right. And I know that feeling. We're the same way. We don't just go to, I'll say Kmart, because I don't think they're around much anymore. They might have one or two stores left. We don't just go to Kmart and pick the first thing, a blue light special. We put some time and money into this to get decent equipment, and so is he. So he takes it seriously. And again, he's been doing it since 2008. And a lot of people don't know this. I'll share this story now. You obviously know it, but I've been, as I mentioned before on the show, I've done radio for a long time, been naked for a long time, just never put the two together and never thought about putting the two together because we do some other things here. We actually own a radio station. We fire several shows through here, nothing to do with naturism. It's music and business and the medical field and some other things. And we talk a lot about a lot of things on the station and through our shows here, but never got into naturism. And earlier this spring, we were sitting around talking about some other options we could do, down the road. We want to expand, we want to pull back, it's good to have those conversations. And it was mentioned, why don't we do a naturism show? At the time, there were only really 3 shows that were putting out consistent quality / content. There might have been more. I'm not denigrating anybody. If I missed somebody, I apologize for that. But certainly Stéphane was the leader because he'd been doing it the longest and does a really good job. He and Samantha. And he and I have a bit of a history together, not much, but enough that I knew him well enough. We don't want to dive into doing a naturist show unless the godfather of naturism says it's okay, basically, because there's no sense getting into something and just taking everybody off. So I got in touch with him. I said, here's what we're thinking. What do you think? And of course, he said it's a great idea. And he agreed with us. There are not enough voices out there. You just said it a moment ago without us rehearsing this. There just are not enough
we never
voices
do.
out there. Yeah, literally voices. There are people who write about it. There are people who go to clubs and nudist beaches, naturist beaches, but actual voices in podcast land or radio land, not enough. The ones who are out there are good, and I'm glad they're doing it. But I thought we could use more because we're not in competition with each other. We're trying to help each other and just get the word out, aren't we?
Absolutely. And I think that, what someone hears on our show, they may hear the same thing on another show. There's positive reinforcement in that. And then they may also glean something else from each individual group. So, there's enough to go around. That's why there's, 57 varieties of things. And I
True.
think it's important that the message be heard. There's a thing in radio, because I've done radio for,
Yeah.
for years too. There's a thing called repetition. How
Yeah.
you get your advertising out is that you
Mhm.
repeat the same ad, the same time, the same day, every day. And it's because people, sometimes they drift off and they don't hear, but if they hear it enough, they'll begin to internalize what's being said. And that makes a big difference in how people perceive things.
Well, you're right. And even the same guest, as you somewhat
Hmm.
mentioned, if each of us has the same exact guest on, and
Yeah.
I don't know how many of us are doing this now, 4, 5, 6, 7, guessing
Yeah.
could be more, but let's just go with 10 as a round number.
Yeah.
If all 10 of us are doing naturism podcasts and each one of us has the same exact guest on,
Hmm.
to me, that's fine. A couple of guests have said, well, I did this show. Maybe no, come on, because like what you just
Right.
said, they'll say, I'll just make up a name here, John
Yeah.
Smith. I heard John Smith on this show. I heard him on Stéphane's show. I heard him on Frank and Lisa's show. This John Smith might be somebody to listen to. So the more the guest gets out there, the better it is for them. But also that consistent message keeps promoting Clothes for a Living for all the right reasons, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And I think the one thing that you can say that Stefan has that we all should strive for, and that's the commitment to this community. I mean, he's definitely shown that over and over and over again. And that level that he's brought to it is important because he's approached it everywhere, from the legal standpoint, from the laws, from the governing bodies of the groups to, the families that come to his park. So, if you can't fault anyone for basically living what he also says.
that's right.
A lot of us don't.
Right.
We, yeah, but I might say I'm gonna walk out here naked, but I more than likely won't, because I know my community and I know what would happen.
Yeah.
But he just
Yeah.
might do that, and
Oh, I think he
has.
would. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
He said on when he did the promo on the show in September, right before he played the promo, he said we had only done 2 shows at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So we did our first show was July 1st, second show was July 8th, third was on July 15th. So he recorded his part of the promo between the 8th and the 15th, obviously. He
Mm-hmm.
said they only have 2 shows up. He said they have a very aggressive schedule. They plan to release a show every week. And he had shared with me privately a couple of times, that's a whole lot of work. You sure you want to do it? And of course, my answer is yes. We'd already thought it out, and we've been doing this forever. We're not new to the podcast, radio, voices out there
No.
world. This is old hat for us. We know how
Yeah.
to do it. It's just a matter if we want to and if it's worth our time. And we decided that it was. But I also understand where he was coming from. He did a show, I forgot when it was, a few years ago, where I think most of the show and maybe the whole show is devoted to other people's podcasts. And he contacted many people and said, if you'd like to do a segment, roughly 10 minutes or so, I forgot the timeline, go ahead and record it. Tell us what you do, send it in, and I'll put it on my show. And he did, all unedited on purpose,
Wow.
because he didn't want to get involved in tainting a message. Just you send it, I'll put it on. So he did that. And some of those shows are no longer with us. So he's had the experience of people dive into a naturism show, and after X number of episodes, they're just gone. They don't even say goodbye. They just stop. And so I understand where he was coming from, but I think we can honestly say to our listeners, it's not going to be us. We're going to be here for a very long time.
We definitely have the commitment to this,
Yeah.
because we both believe that the message is important and that the
Mhm.
message needs to be out there. And it's important to us as well. It's not just that we're trying to tell other people what to do,
No,
it's
right.
how we choose to live. And I think it's good to get that message out, because too many people kind of teeter. We've heard from listeners, and that so many of them wanted to do it took a while to get there to do it. A couple of us said they felt encouraged by what they've heard from us and from others. And that's kind of what we need. We need that kind of camaraderie that this is, that this is okay to have this need to be undressed and to, enjoy nature the way we choose to enjoy it. And so I think that you were right. Stéphane is the godfather. He paved the way and
That's
kind
right.
of leads the charge as far as, how we should conduct ourselves in about this community.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. And he's been doing it since 2008. And I know Samantha joined him a few years ago, within the last 2, 3, 4 years, and does a lot of editing and promo
Right.
work behind the scenes. So hats off to both of them, but especially to Stéphane, because the words came from him. He offered the promo, which was very nice of him. A lot of people would not do that.
No.
In fact,
The
nobody else did that. Let's make that
Well,
clear.
that just shows his level of confidence in who he is and what his message is,
Yeah.
and he needs to see it shared.
Yeah. And I think he believes that we need more voices.
I agree.
Whatever number we have right now, again, I'm just saying 10. I don't think it's that many, but why not 20? Why not 50? Why not 1,000? Let's have everybody talking about this in a meaningful way with terrific content so people get the message over and over.
And the more that there are, the more odds are more people will come across them.
Right.
They may put in a keyword looking for something, and all of a sudden one of us show up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we've kind of seen some strange numbers because of some things because of that, because I think they may be actively searching for naturism. They may be looking for something else and we could pop up too, but I think that there is a need out there, and we just need to fill it. We need to
Yeah.
fill it, and then we all need to fill it.
Yep, and that's what we're doing. And again, we want to thank all of our listeners. The numbers are way off the charts, show
They
wise,
are.
as well as preview wise. We just threw the previews in there as a tease from one of our upcoming guests. In fact, he'd done a lot of producing of films and various shows. He suggested it. I thought, well, that's let's try. That's a great idea. And we did it as a Wednesday thing to kind of tease for the Saturday thing. But those numbers are off the charts. So we thank our listeners, and we definitely thank Stéphane Deschénes, Bear Oaks Family Naturist Park in Toronto, as well as his show, the Naturist Living Show. Lisa, last word is yours, and then we're going to turn you loose.
Well, I'd just like to say, as you did, thanks to Stéphane for helping pave the way, and also to the listeners that we have who are just simply amazing. The comments are wonderful. The fact that you're communicating with us about shows and about other things and about your own life experiences, that means a lot to us, because that just spurs us on to know that we're reaching a group of people that need to hear the message, and it's resonating, and we really appreciate that very much.
Yeah, very well said. So we are here. This is our 15th week, which means 15th episode. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. We'll be here for the long haul. And again, special thank you to Stéphane for that promo. And Lisa Monroe, thank you for being here. We'll see you next time.
Absolutely, Frank. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right, thank you. Bye. The terrific Lisa Monroe. Always good to get a woman's voice and a woman's perspective to all of this, and she certainly does both very well. Been a naturist / nudist, clothes-free person for about 20 years and loves living the life every single day. So we thank Lisa Monroe for everything. You are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturist, episode 15 today. Brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time on Spotify, other podcast platforms throughout the day after that. Well, let's get to part one now of my interview with Carrie Jane. She is the owner, operator, proprietor of the B.H.H. Naturist Resort, Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands. What an amazing woman. What an amazing life and career. And now she's living the clothes-free life and inviting others to stay with her and enjoy her resort as well. So here we go, part one of my interview with the terrific Carrie Jane. So let's go out to the Canary Islands this morning. We're going to talk to Carrie Jane, born and raised in the UK and had some very lofty positions, and we'll talk about that. Even worked for the guy who's now King Charles, even worked for him for a while, and we'll certainly talk about that. But she gave up the UK and moved permanently to the Canary Islands. Had a house there and decided, you know what, nude beaches are everywhere on the Canary Islands. Why don't I just turn my house into a naturist resort? And she did. It's called the B.H.H. Naturist Resort. So from the Canary Islands, let's welcome Carrie Jane. Good morning, Carrie. How are you today?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm exceptionally well. I'm in Fuerteventura, which is one of the Canary Islands. There's 8 in total.
Yeah. I actually enjoy saying that, Fuerteventura. It just sounds like it rolls off the tongue, like Julio Iglesias would say it. So,
It does. It does. There is some resemblance actually to Julio, I must admit, looking at you.
I think his bank account is slightly larger than mine. You know, his starts with a B, as in billions. Mine doesn't. So,
Oh, possibly. Okay.
and then actually, now that you mention that, you know, I used to sing quite a bit with bands. I had my own band, and we did a lot of Julio Iglesias songs. And my range is kind of sort of his. So it's
Oh,
kind of fun.
okay.
Yeah. So I
Are
know.
we, are we gonna have time to listen to you later? Maybe I was in my previous career, I could have auditioned you for a piece in one of our musicals when I was a
Right.
theatre producer.
That's right. I would have auditioned for sure. I've been in a few plays, but not a whole lot. My that part of my career was all musician, playing piano and drums and singing. I did a few
Mhm,
acting things, but really acting is not my bag. I won't claim to be an actor, but I can imitate
mhm.
Julio Iglesias by saying Fuerteventura. How about that?
Oh, very good. I actually love it when I get musicians as guests here because quite often they bring their instruments, and I've got a guitar on site, and we have some fantastic evenings, around the fire pit, improvising, singing, and stuff, all, nude. It's really good fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I need to book a trip there. I'm already hooked. So just a few
Excellent.
minutes in, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, there's new flights actually from the States to Tenerife, directly to to Tenerife,
Okay.
or you can come via Madrid. It's dead easy.
Okay. Now you are in the Canary Islands. You're near the south end, as I recall. Is that correct?
I'm in the south of the island of Fuerteventura.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Julio.
Yeah. And so, so that our listeners know, if they're in the United States, that's roughly, in terms of the latitude, roughly equal to maybe the Miami area, Miami, Florida, in terms of the weather, the humidity and heat.
Absolutely. We have the same climate
Yeah.
as Florida, exactly the same. We're on the same latitude, on the same lines. And on the west, which is about an hour walking from here, so 10 minutes in the car,
Okay.
the Atlantic Ocean, there's nothing in between Fuerteventura and Florida, which
Right.
I find quite fascinating. 5,000 kilometers, maybe I would try.
I was just going to suggest that you could swim over here and not run into anything. There's nothing between you
No,
and here. So yeah,
no,
I'm,
maybe
I'm
the odd big cargo ship, but no.
right. You can duck around that, or do the backstroke around the ship, and you'd be fine. I'm in
Yeah,
Florida. I'm in Florida as well, not as far south as Miami, a few hours north of that, but uh,
yeah,
I can't imagine living in clothes, not working in clothes. I told you off air. It's a nature studio. We show up, the clothes come off, we work, they go on only when we have to leave, and basically you do the same thing, don't you?
absolutely. Yes,
Mm.
yeah. I outside of the resort, you maybe have to put a sarong on or something, and then walk to the beach, and
Right.
then you can whoop it off again, and be amongst hundreds. I say hundreds, maybe dozens, because a lot of the beaches are very secluded. Fellow naturists.
And I saw somewhere either an interview with you or something you posted online. That's how you greet your guests. They show up at a naturist resort. They meet Carrie Jane with no clothes on because, duh, it's a naturist resort, right?
Occasionally that happens. I think one of the journalists was how should we say, expanded my answer quite considerably. So
Okay.
yes, it does happen. I love joining guests if they have a barbecue or sitting chatting by the pool, but generally it's my business. So yeah, but it's great to meet so many like-minded people.
Yeah, yeah, very much so. And the joys, we call it here clothes free living for all the right reasons. And just
Yeah.
the joys of clothes free living. And let me ask you this question. because I don't have a great answer to give to people. I know what I know, but I don't know how to explain it. So you take somebody, man or woman at this point, probably a woman more likely because they tend to be a little on the shy side when it comes to naturism. If you tell them,
Hmm.
take all your clothes off and walk around in a bunch of people, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden you'll feel more secure about yourself. Nobody believes me when I tell them that, but then they try it and they say, wow, this worked. Why does that work?
Um, why does it work? That's absolutely true. That's my experience as well.
Yeah.
That it does work,
Yeah.
and I think because we are judged quite often from what we wear. So, you meet somebody in a designer suit and, expensive shoes and fancy pants, you make your decision about them. Whereas when we remove all our clothes, we are all equal
Mm.
and exactly the same, some larger, some smaller, you know. Yeah, and it's such a leveling experience for everybody. So therefore, it's very freeing and liberating. Maybe more so for a lady. I don't know, but yeah, it's very true. Very true.
Yeah, well, women in general have more clothing options than men. They can wear a dress, a skirt, pants, shorts, culottes. They used to call them hot pants. I don't know what the other options are. Men,
Hmm.
basically, when we go to work in the corporate world, it's suit and tie. You wear a tie, you wear a dress shirt, you wear a coat, get out of the house, go to work. Women have many more options. So when you're saying we're going to take all those options away from you, you're going to be
Hmm.
naked as a jaybird and you're going to feel great about it. A lot of women at first say, are you nuts? but
Yep.
but
Yep.
you can confirm
Yep.
that it is true, right?
100%, yes. Quite often, a couple will arrive and she is more cautious.
Yeah.
The man, the male, or, if it's same sex couple, one of them will strip off immediately and the other will be a bit more reticent initially.
Mm.
Then you see the first day, the second day, more and more clothes come off. Um, and by the end of the week, they're unbelievably proud of themselves, which they thought would never happen the day they arrived. So it's really exhilarating.
Yeah, it really is amazing how that works. Now, as I understand it, you did not necessarily grow up as a naturist, but you found it at some point. How did all of that take place?
I did. Well, I've had the property 21 years.
Okay.
And initially, when I was living in the UK, we rented it to families mainly. And then after a divorce 10 years ago, I moved over here permanently. And then always had guests visiting who asked, could they remove all their clothes, which I've never had a problem with.
Right.
And because there's so many naturist beaches here. I mean, there's more naturist beaches in Fuerteventura than all the other islands put together. And they
Wow.
are golden sand, just, like paradise. And so I always ventured onto those naturist beaches myself. And then I had an epiphany, if you like, to think, why don't I make the villa niche market and just go for clothing optional, which is how I sell it. But the majority of guests come as naturists, but there is the option. You don't have. It's not obligatory that you have to take your clothes off. You can swim in my pool with a costume on if you must. I don't have such clear rules about these things. So yeah, that's how it started.
Okay. Yeah, there are two schools of thought on that, and I basically agree with both of them, which is, that ticks people off when I say, "Well, I agree with everything." Make a decision. One is it's clothes free. Period. You get here, you get your clothes off, or you got to leave.
Hmm.
But that, the people who want to try naturism, that closes them out because they want to show up in their clothes. And like you said, maybe stay in the clothes for a day or two or three, and then slowly take off one item one day, a second item the second day, and kind of ease into it. And I'm guessing, obviously, that's your preferred method because that's what you do, right?
Exactly. My resort is perfect for beginners and for people wanting to try naturism. Because it's small. I have just 4 apartments. large swimming pool, spacious areas. So none of the guests need to be, lying next to a stranger, that they might feel intimidated by, which again is why there's fewer women in naturism, because in my experience, which is obviously only the only thing I can talk from, it can be intimidating. So yes, it's a perfect environment for new naturists here. And then when you get down to the beaches, which is within 10 minutes walk from here, you'll see so many people without clothes and with clothes. So, mixing, walking along the shoreline. So, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be. Let's say I'll just throw a number out there. You said 4 apartments, so 2 people each, just for sake of argument.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 8 people
Mm-hmm.
at the pool.
Yep.
7 of them are naked. The 8th one, who's fully clothed, at some point is going to say, "Hey, I'm looking kind of silly here. Maybe I ought to join in." And that's really when it begins. They begin to enjoy it, right?
That's absolutely what tends to happen. I do take single males as well, and single females, but I get more single males than females, and that traditionally has been an issue, especially in the UK. The naturist clubs don't accept single males, which I think is quite sad, because you're um, generalizing that having a single male is going to be a problem, and that's simply not the case. It's at the end of the day, it's about respect for each other. And when I said about the women, there's fewer women who feel intimidated. I think that, that's one of the reasons that they think that they're not going to have respect. But again, in my experience, there's no issue with that, because it's non-sexualized naturism. And I probably skipped to the next question, but I feel passionately that it shouldn't be about sex. Just because you've got your clothes off doesn't mean anything untoward is going to happen.
Well, 100% in agreement here, because that destroys the whole concept of naturism. And of course, in our society today, in general, and I know you're big into women's empowerment, and so am I. We need to promote everybody, including women, and get them to do anything that they want to do without having to have a fear of, oh boy, I might get in trouble or get attacked or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And a perfect example, listeners to our show, know that I go naked running on the beach every morning, early, when it's still dark.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go down to the beach every day, it is not a nude beach. It's a public beach on the Atlantic Ocean. I get there, I take my clothes off. I only wear shorts there anyway. I only have one clothing item. And then I run naked, carrying my phone and my pair of shorts. And almost every day I go down there and do that. I think, if I were a woman, would I do this at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, when it's dark and isolated? And my thinking is, no, I wouldn't. But I can do it as a man. That to me, that's just not even close to fair, is it?
No, I think that's probably true, that it's not something a woman would choose to do. Although here can walk for 21 kilometers along the ocean nude without well, you have to make sure the tide is in the right direction, preferably out. But
Right.
you can walk 21 kilometers from Costa Calma, which is where my resort is, down to Morahable. And many of my guests actually do that.
Oh,
And then they'll either get a taxi back, or maybe I'll go and pick them up at the other end. But I'm not sure they actually run naked like you do, but they certainly walk naked.
well, that's very good, and that's a very good advantage, obviously, to anybody, but especially to you owning a business there. You can come to my naturist resort, and you can walk along the beach nude. I mean, that's a perfect blend of both worlds, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And there's just so many naturist beaches to choose from here.
Yeah.
There's, a different naturist beach for every day of a whole month.
Yeah.
If you chose to. Yeah.
Along those same lines, there's a big movement out there, go topless or free the nipple movement.
Yeah.
I've been allowed to run around with no shirt forever since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Because I could run around naked as a kid as well.
Yeah.
But put that aside, even today, I could walk out right now to my mailbox, no shirt, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
A woman, for the most part, cannot. How do we fix that?
This is so frustrating, and it's one of my pet challenges, if you like.
Yeah.
Because what is the difference? To me, nothing. A nipple is a nipple, be it on whoever.
Right.
I think again, it's about education, and it's about boundaries, and explaining that that it's okay to do this. As an example, I was on a cruise recently, and on the terrace there was lots of men, American men actually, 'cause it was American Cruise Line, with no tops on, and all the women had tops on,
Yeah.
apart from me.
Yeah.
And yes, I did get challenged from the staff.
Oh.
But when I pointed out, how is it okay for men to have their tops off and not for women? Yes, they threatened to take it further, to get the senior, bartender to come and actually nobody did anything. And what was even more fascinating was the next day there was 5 or 6 of us with no tops on.
Nice. Well, you set the way, right? You blazed the trail.
Lead by example.
Will we ever get there where women can just, it's hot outside, I'm taking my shirt off, and I walk around?
We will get there. I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever. It will soon be, in my lifetime, it will be acceptable to be topless. In fact, in Spain, they've just legalized being for any person to be topless in all the public areas of swimming pools.
Yeah, I did see that.
So
Yeah.
if you're told to cover up, that is an offence. So that is a brand new law here in Spain. So which is really exciting.
Yeah, finally. Okay, so we're getting some forward movement there. I even used to think about that as a kid. We'd be outside playing, maybe football or baseball or whatever, running around hot, getting sweaty, no shirts. And then some girls would come over to join us. They'd have to wear a shirt. And I thought, well, that's just not fair. It's never been fair, has it?
No, it's never been fair. It's ridiculous. The same as why is breastfeeding in public frowned upon? We should still be able to do that wherever and whenever there's a need.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm seeing that more and more finally. And it went from no breastfeeding in public to, okay, I'll breastfeed in public, but I'll have a towel over the baby and myself so nobody sees.
Yep.
And now I've seen women, even at restaurants, no cover, the breast comes out, the baby starts eating, which is, by the way, in case anybody wanted to look it up, 100% normal and natural. That's how babies get their nourishment most of the time when they're infants, right?
Yes, absolutely. As I say, the whole nipple saga frustrates me beyond explanation. And I don't see any part of history that has meant that anybody had to cover up.
Well, I mean, at some point, men got fully in charge and basically made the rules for the men and women, and women, you have to keep your shirts on. I'm guessing that's probably how it happened, right?
You're probably right. The rule was made by a man for sure. So, but now, like so
Yeah.
many laws,
Yeah.
it's out of date. So it needs to change. And with that, I think, and because
Yeah.
women are becoming more empowered, I think it will be in this generation, if not the next, where it's all totally acceptable. The same with gay rights. It wasn't so long ago that same-sex relationships, let alone marriages, were frowned upon. Well, now, I mean, I have lots of same-sex couples here, which is really, really good, and I'm quite proud of that. That they can come and be and feel confident enough to to come on a naturist holiday together.
Yeah, that could not have happened, let's say 30 years ago, a generation ago. There's no way that could have happened. It probably would have been against the law, but now laws allow. And hopefully we'll get there with the whole free the nipple thing. It's just the most ridiculous restriction that I can think of, and hopefully we'll get there.
Yes.
Back to, before we move back to naturism in your resort, one of the things I've always noticed is on a textile beach, a clothed beach, people have suits on. It's kind of an unfriendly atmosphere to me. You're walking down the beach and everybody kind of has that body posture. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Who do you think you are? But at a naturist resort or naturist beach, it seems like everybody is really friendly and open. You walk down the beach. Hey, how you doing? Hey, why don't you come over here and have some lemonade or whatever? I'm sure you've noticed that too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, quite often, I mean, sometimes I do have groups of guests stay here who know each other previously from naturist resorts, that perhaps they belong to at home, naturist clubs or whatever. But when I have people who don't know each other, so say 4 different people, either singles or couples, that don't know each other, within hours they're sharing a drink round the pool, and then they've decided to organise a barbecue on the back terrace in the evening, which is fantastic. And then just recently, I had a group of people who had organised a reunion here from last year, which was amazing. So they'd sort of kept in touch and then decided all to come at the same time. So it was just brilliant, really good. And now, it's more like friends coming together than, naturist guests, because we all know each other.
Well, that's very good to hear. Now, back to your naturism story for a moment. You didn't discover naturism until you bought the home in the Canary Islands and started to visit there, or were you involved in it before that?
No, just since I came here. But I've been coming here to Fuerteventura for 21 years.
Right.
So, I've always practiced it. And with my ex-husband, we always used to go nude on the beaches. But I just didn't, I guess I didn't really realize there was an opportunity to run a business out of it. So that was, that was the year before COVID when I started. And yeah, it was like, why on earth didn't I do this years ago? It's so fantastic.
Yeah, it's right there in the backyard of all the nude beaches. It has to be perfect, for travelers looking for a naturist vacation. And before we get to your resort, what's this? You work for the guy who is now King Charles?
Yes, nothing to do with naturism. Come on, let's not create our own headlines here.
Right.
But yes, I did. I worked for him for 10 years for the Prince's Trust.
Wow.
He was patron for many, many years because he's passionate about helping young people. And so I worked for his charity. In fact, they helped me. And then years later, I began working for them. So that was, it was great. I mean, not as glamorous and exciting as being a theatre producer, of course, but it had its moments. Going to the palace and meeting the Queen who passed last year. So yeah, it was very, very good, fun times.
Oh, very good. Now, just out of curiosity, when you were a theater producer, was that all? Did you do any naturist theater, or was it all Shakespeare and whatever else is out there?
Well, now I think about it, which is very interesting, isn't it? How we sort of, project these things into the universe, and then it happens. Because if somebody had have told me, 15 years ago, this is what I would have been doing, I would never have believed them.
The terrific Carrie Jane from the B.H.H. Naturist Resort in Fuerteventura, the Canary Islands. You can go to her website right now and check her out, naturistcanaries.com. Maybe book your stay and certainly sign up for her weekly blog. You sign up and every week you get a notification from her. And we will get to part 2 of my interview with Carrie Jane from the B.H.H. Naturist Resort on next week's show. Well, you've been listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 15 today. We really thank you for being with us. We love being with you. We love that you are with us. We are in this together, helping each other to live the clothes-free life, and we are glad that you take us with you. Wherever you go, we are there on your phone, your tablet, your computer, Naked Nudists and Naturists, living the clothes-free life along with you. Living the clothes-free life for all of the right reasons. What are you going to do today? Whatever you're going to do today, clean the garage, work in the house, maybe go to work, maybe enjoy the beach or the pool, or something else, we hope you do it clothes-free, physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. The benefits are over the top great, but you already know that, because we are one and the same, living the clothes-free life. Well, thank you for listening today to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 15 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.